Greetings. Welcome back to Pink Oddbird. So today what I'm here to talk about and share with you is book covers and how you can use them to make covers for your journals. So what I have here are just a few different book covers, and I want to talk about how you can use these and strengthen them or resize them to get your signatures all sewn into the book. Okay, so as you can see here, I've got my signatures all together. In this case, there's only 2 signatures, but same scenario. If you have more signatures than this, it's really kind of the same idea. So I'm just going to take a few different book covers and see which one I want to use for the project that I'm working on, what looks best. As you can see, this book cover, if I wanted to go ahead and use this book cover, it would actually work really nicely because the signatures are in there really nice and snug. There's no alligator mouth happening here. So to me, there would really be no need to extend the spine on this particular book cover. So I will show you how to prepare this book cover for usage. So here is the book cover if I wanted to use this one. As you can see, all I've done so far is rip out the book page block that was sitting in here. And what I'm left with is a pretty flimsy book cover. Of course, the sides are really strong because that's a really nice book board that they have used. But as you can see, there's this sort of netting that's there. And that was originally the strong suit, I guess, if you will, that was holding the book together. And it's a really strong material, and you can leave this in here if you want to have the added, protection of knowing that it's there. Or you can actually just take your box cutter, and if you're using a box cutter, please do be careful for any of these steps that I'm going to be showing. If you're using a box cutter, they are sharp. You can take your box cutter and cut this out, and then you're just left with the actual cover spine. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and cut this piece out. I don't know if you can see this when I do this, but the netting is lifted up from the book cloth portion that's behind it. And so if I press down on it, it's making the sides go in a little like this, and I don't want that happening. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that out. Okay, so you can save it to use in some kind of mixed media or trash. All right, so the book cover is now completely empty. Now, I would say that if you do want to paint the cover of the book some different color with paint, you can go ahead and do that at this point, because I think it would be better to get that out of the way now than do it later, when we start putting stuff on here that has adhesives, and then, it's going to get wet. So to me, if you're going to paint it now. Otherwise, let's move on. So the first thing that I'm going to do is take my duct tape that I have here. And I'm using this because I just want to add an extra layer of durability to this cover before we reinforce it again. It's just really important to me because I think that I don't think that you can have too much protection, or otherwise you might run the risk of your cover falling apart, and you don't want that. I should have grabbed my mixed media scissors. I can't find my other box cutter. It's much better than this one, so I hope it doesn't give me too many hassles. There we go. All right, so there's one side, and then as you can see, I'm just going to layer this piece here. I would like to point out that you can stop here with just duct tape. You don't have to reinforce it further if you don't want to, but I'm going to because I want to make sure that it's extra reinforced. All right, now that we've got that in there, just take your bone folder and make sure that you get this tape really pressed in here. All nice and snug and stuck down to the boards. Okay, so like I said, if you want to, you can stop here. You have a really nice reinforced book cover, and then you're ready to just treat this how you want to with either your hidden spine signature or stitching them through the actual book cover. So I am going to add one more layer, which I have some upcycled Tyvek here. And I'm going to, you can actually do this piece underneath the duct tape as well, but I'm covering all of this anyway, so it doesn't really matter to me. So I'm just going to take my, you can take glue or tape. I'm just going to do glue for now because I'm not going to be using this one today. And if you do want to add this underneath the duct tape, that's totally fine. It, you know, it's going to have double protection either way you do this. So again, I'm just going to take the bone folder and make sure that gets all pressed into here. So now I'm feeling really confident that this book board will not be coming undone. Okay, so at this point, once this dries, of course, you're ready to start building your book how you normally would. So if you wanted to leave this outside cover how it was, then I would say just take a piece of scrapbook paper or fabric and then cover up your whole inside. That way all of this gets covered up, and then you have a very pretty inside cover ready to go. And then, like I said, you can either do your hidden spine or stitching through the book cover. But at this point, this one is ready to go. Oh, and if you wanted to cover this with a different fabric or paper, you want to cover this up with your paper or fabric and then cover your inside and then get your signature sewn in. So that's how this particular instance of using a book cover would go as far as using my process. All right, let's go on to the next. All right, in the next example, I have this book cover here, and as you can see, in my opinion, it's a little bit too small for this, for these signatures. But I do like the size of it. It's a pretty good size. I mean, that's option number one. And then I have another book cover here, which I like because it's already black and it saves me time from having to paint the other one black. But as you can see, this one is way too big. So these are the kinds of dilemmas because you might get lucky sometimes and have a book cover like this one that we just did. That's the perfect size for the signatures, but maybe you want to use a different cover for different reasons. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and set the black one aside and maybe just save this one for another time. However, if I did want to use this one, you can use your box cutter to cut these down to size. And if you're going to wrap the book with the scrapbook paper or anything, you don't have to worry about the rough edge that's going to be left. You can cut these down with your box cutter and use your self-healing mat, and be careful. And then you'll have a nice heavy book cover for your journal. So, but this time we're going to just focus on the fact that the spine is too small here and how we can extend that to get these signatures to fit in here properly. So let's go ahead and try it. The first thing that I'm going to want to do is, as you can see, we have a spine here. It is intact, but we are going to take it apart. As you can see, I'm left with a little bit of overhang here. I want to get all of that off because you want these to be as clean cut as you possibly can. So there we go. All right, so there's one. All right, so there we go. We have our two pieces here, and we've cleaned up the edges on these, as you can see. So now is just the part where you want to decide what kind of spine you want to add into the book. This is really as simple as this. So basically, if you wanted to do maybe like a curved spine, what I would say is maybe take a couple pieces of cardstock or a lightweight chipboard and round it out, and then you can get your curved book spine in here. But really at this point, it's kind of standard for any kind of book cover that you build. So in this particular case, what we're going to be left with is a spine of my choosing, but we still get these really nice thick book covers. So in my opinion, extending a book cover is really as simple as this. Just take it apart completely and build it back up how you want it to be done. So here I have a piece of chipboard that's going to measure 2 inches across. And I am going to just cut it down to the right size here. Okay, so there we go. So as I'm sure you can probably tell, it's starting to look familiar because you've seen this layout time and time again. So like I said, it depends on how big you want your spine. Do you want a flat spine or a rounded spine? And then you're just going to start building your book cover back together. So what I like to do is just reattach it. You can use your duct tape to add these back together, but I like to just go ahead and go in with my tape and my Tyvek and get these added back together. But you can use your preferred method of attaching your book board, and then I'll see you back here. Okay, as you can see, so far I have done a rough attach of the spine to the 2 book covers, and now I want to reinforce this with a little bit of duct tape. The neat thing about the duct tape is that it has the same neat kind of netting structure as what the book cover actually originally came with. So you know that you're going to be getting some durability with that. But if you don't have duct tape, you can also just use fabric. Okay. So this is just reinforcing that bond between the spine and the book board. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. All right, so there we go. Now, as you can see, we have a really nice reinforced book cover here. But if you notice, in my opinion, it's too loosey-goosey. So what do you do if the book cover is too loose? I mean, yes, it's going to work. And let's see. Let's see if we did a good size for our signatures now. Yeah, you see? So we still get the benefits of this nice, big, thick, heavy book board cover, and then we have our nice reinforced spine, and we also have a book cover that we didn't have to cut down. We didn't have to do very much work to get our signatures to fit. It will open, the book will work, and it will function at this point in time, but personally, I like to sometimes, to give my spine a little bit more structure, I'm going to show you what I'm going to do for that. Okay, so now that we know that we have our book cover to a good spine size, And we know that it is secure. We know that we've got our tape in there. The book covers are connected. They're not going anywhere. But I want to add one more layer of protection to this. So all I'm going to do is take a piece of my 8.5 by 11 cardstock. It's just a 65-pound cardstock. I'm going to turn my book over. And then you can do this with tape or glue. But all I'm just going to do is add on my tape to this on the edges. And to me, this is just going to give it that last little, like, I don't know, I guess like a barrier of protection. Because I feel like, you know, if you're not going to cover your book with any fabric, which I don't think I am in this case, you're not going to have that extra layer of protection on the book. So this step to me is kind of important. And then what I'm just going to do is take my glue or tape and then also add that here to where the book covers meet. And actually, I think I want to cut this down actually a little bit shorter. And I'm not going to measure this, you guys. I'm just going to cut it. Because it's all going to get covered up by whatever layering I do on the cover anyway. I really just want this here for structural purposes. So yeah, to me, that's a little bit better. All right, so we've got that. So then what I'm going to do is remove my tape backing. We have our piece here, and I do want to go ahead and take my glue. As you know, we're going to have a little bit of space there that's not going to have any protection on it there. So I'm going to take my glue beside my tape here and just do a strip up and down on both sides, and then a little bit here just to make sure that there are no gaps when I put this paper down. I'm going to flip it. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot to add a little bit here so that we can get that piece stuck down as well. And then I'm also going to add a little bit of glue here for extra protection. All right. And then we want to get this folded over. And then there we go. Now take your bone folder and make sure this all gets down really well. And you have to work a little bit faster if you are using the glue, because I don't know how fast your glue dries, but Fabri-Tac sometimes dries pretty fast. So another strip here. Now, I want to flip back over quickly and make sure this piece all gets burnished down really nicely, because you don't want these page edges lifting at all. Again, if you are going to cover the book in some way, it's going to be protected in that fashion, so you don't really have to worry about it. But if you're not, then you definitely want to do the step. Flip it over and get those same burnishing motions done on this side. And now you see how it's not all floppy anymore. It's a nice, sturdy, it's not going to flop over like this. So you have a really nice, sturdy book cover. So now your book cover is ready for however you want to get your signatures into the book. Of course, I'm going to hop off the camera and finish this book because it's not done, but it's almost done. But as you can see, we have a nice, very secure, that has been extended out of a book cover that was originally too small to house these signatures. Now, like I said, at this point, I think the rest of us know how to go on with building your books. So again, if you're going to do your hidden signatures, you want to get that in here first and then cover up your insides. Or if you're going to paint the outside or cover it with fabric, you know, it's up to you from here. But the gist of it was to come in and show you how we could have went from that spine. Where is it? Right here. This was our original spine on this book. So as you can see, we've added on like a whole nother almost inch to what this spine originally was. So you can see here, we have officially extended our book cover. So now you know how you can do that with a book cover where you want to actually extend the spine, and then you have your steps for if you have a book cover that you want to. And as you can see, this one isn't really floppy either because we did do our reinforcing here and we didn't remove the book cloth that originally came on the book. So as you can see, this one is not really like floppy, loosey-goosey. So this one is ready to go however you want to use it also. So if you guys have any questions, please leave them down in the comment section below. This is just my process for how I do this. And to me, I love it because it's very minimal work, because cutting the book boards down takes time, and especially maybe if you have thin book boards, you have to layer them up and stuff like that. This is just a really quick, easy way that you're able to get your nice thick book boards and extend the spines if you need to. So if you guys have any comments or suggestions or any tips on maybe something that you guys do that you want to share with me, be sure to leave those down below and I will definitely respond to you as always. So that's going to go ahead and wrap it up for me for now. Be sure to stay tuned because you never know what direction this odd flock of ours is heading into. And until next time, toodaloo.